Hello, everybody. WeeBrabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload episode 14. I know last week we ended up missing a week because of some stuff, which I'll bring up in a moment. But we are back now, and I'm glad to be back. With me, as always, is the Legend of Jonathan. Say hello, Legend of Jonathan.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's me, the Legend Jonathan. I'm back, of course, for this episode, and yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Yes. So basically, before we dive in, well, first of all, this episode's gonna be a bit different. Instead of really focusing on our week and news and some sort of topic of the week, it's going to kind of all be rolled into one. And we're basically going to talk about a big event that just happened, which is the Nintendo Direct. So we're
Yeah.
going to basically spend all our time talking about that and kind of just Nintendo talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before we get into that, though, what I do want to talk about is, kind of how we missed a week. And for anyone who doesn't know, I posted it on my community tab over on YouTube, and I saw a few people saw it and left me some, messages. But yeah, basically last week I really wanted to record, but it was just a rough week. Yeah, it kind of, some stuff still continues to be rough, but at least it's better now. But yeah, just a lot of personal stuff going on. One of which involved having to put my dog down, which really sucked. I had the dog for like more than 12 years, but she was just really old and she was starting to have all sorts of illnesses. I had just taken her to the vet maybe like a month prior because she had arthritis because she was really old, and then I gave some medication for her, and it looked like it was giving her like a new lease on life. It looked like she was better, but that only lasted like a couple of weeks, and then she seemed like she was worse than ever, and she was like really weak, and I don't know, it was just really bad, and eventually it was just I don't know. I had to let her go because we could tell that she was starting to just not we could tell she wasn't going to recover. Like too much things were going bad where she wasn't eating, she wasn't even drinking water. If she tried to like drink any water at all, she would like throw it up. And just it was really, really bad. And I don't know, luckily I guess we did put her down in time that she didn't have to suffer very much. So I guess that's good. But yeah, it just really sucked those last few days seeing her be in such horrible condition. And that really, really sucked. And so obviously I wasn't really in the mood to record because basically the day we record is the day I had to put her down. And so that was really crappy.
Yeah, I'm super sorry about that still.
Yeah, I know. People
Yeah.
have been saying for anyone who's said anything, I appreciate I guess you say the condolences or like the how do we call them warm wishes or whatever you call them. I don't really know how you refer to them, but for everyone who said anything, thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, so that was one of the things. And then at work, I just been having trouble. That's kind of an ongoing thing where I need to do work, but I'm locked out of like a certain account, and I've been like in talks with IT, and they just can't fix it for some reason. So that's been
Oh,
frustrating.
wow.
So it's just been like a whole thing where I'm just having like a few like bumps in
Issues.
the road and issues here
Yeah.
and there. Nothing too major, I'm kind of dealing with it as it comes. But that for sure is the reason I just needed a break last week.
Yeah.
But I'm back now. Like I said, I'm trying to get over stuff, and stuff is going. I'm slowly. Stuff's getting better, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I know that we each didn't really have much of a week, right? I know you were really busy too, dealing with I think school you said and stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we will kind of touch upon our weeks very lightly, although there wasn't really much to talk about. And then we're gonna
Yeah.
jump into the Nintendo discussion. So, real quick, take it away. What did you want to mention for your week, I guess? What was of
Um,
note?
so basically, I've just been trying to catch up on because last week especially, we didn't do the podcast. I felt bad. I did kind of try to just try to catch up on some stuff and talk about. But since, the Nintendo Direct came up as well, and that was pretty interesting. Basically I'll just focus on Ursa and that's kind of it.
Hmm.
Um, I'll abbreviate it. It was pretty cool these past week or two. They introduced a new character that I mean, obviously she's not new. It's just saying that she's new to the series, like this series, the remake. Her name is Ryunosuke. Based off that name, you would assume that that's like a male character, especially because in Japanese that's an actual like yeah male name. And well, there's Ryu from Street Fighter, that's short for Ryunosuke.
Mm.
Basically, the reason why she has that name and the reason why I love her a lot is because basically her character is that she was raised by her dad to be a man, but the thing is she doesn't like being a man, and then her dad kind of tries to force that on because like they own a restaurant and he needs like a male heir to take over the business, but she doesn't want to. And so what I like about this character is that she's kind of funny where her whole journey is her trying to be more feminine and not try to act like a guy. And so she's like, yeah, I need like wear a bra and I need to like, I'm saving up money for a bra and I need to find my dad to like wear female clothes and like all this other stuff kind of funny, but like kind of like, oh wow, like this is an actual interesting character that doesn't involve like Laminataro so much. Like she just kind of is there sometimes. And so that's why I was going to talk about that. I'm pretty happy they introduced her because I've always liked the character. I've always liked her character. Very different. She doesn't have any romantic interests, which is pretty interesting. There are implications that people kind of say that maybe she is like lesbian or something because like the fact that she'll
Mm.
blush when certain stuff happens with girls and stuff. But then it's like shown that that might not be the case because um when she's hanging out with what's her name, Love's friend Ran, and then Ran thinks it's a date, basically she says, "Oh, like she blushes and like in her mind she's like, oh, she looks like that those girls I looked up to as a kid and I always wanted to be like blah blah blah." And so you could just tell that she just more likes the fact that Ran kind of inspires her type of thing.
Mm.
And so yeah, she's pretty cool.
She
Um,
almost sounds like she belongs in like a totally different anime.
which I was actually about to get to that.
I was gonna say
She
she sounds like she should be like the protagonist of something else. It's so weird.
That's what I was gonna say. She inspired Ranma from Ranma One Half.
Oh, weird.
And so that's the whole point where like it kind of inspired that whole thing of oh when he gets the cold water he turns into a girl and all that.
Yeah.
That's what inspired Ranma. Ryunosuke's character was inspired him and his creation. And so that's why when you said that, I was like, oh, that's pretty good that you noticed it because that's what a lot of people said that. It's so cool how that character feels like she's not part of the anime because she really just doesn't feel like she's a part of that universe. Like she feels weird, but then she doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
I
then
got you. Huh.
the dad is such a dick. Like literally like he looks ugly and then like I like how I paid attention. I mentioned his appearance first. So you know how Vegeta has like the weird haircut? He has like the widow's peak.
Yeah.
He's literally just Vegeta.
Oh, that's so weird.
He looks like a weird old Vegeta. And he'll be like,
So
Ryunosuke,
he's a very possessive Vegeta trying to control his kid's life.
yeah. Except
Wow.
if like Bra or Bola or whatever,
Yeah.
if it was like he wanted her to be a guy and he didn't have a wife or anything. So like that's basically what it's like.
That's
And then there's even
weird.
like a
That's
scene
funny.
where like he's like, "Oh yeah, um, son, I need you to take care of the business, blah blah." And she's like, "I'm not a kid, a boy, I'm a girl," and she like punches the shit out of him.
Oh
And that's
wow.
actually something that reoccurs that they basically abuse each other, where they'll like beat the crap out of each other, and like I like it. I like the dynamic. I think it's pretty funny. Um, and I'm pretty happy that they kind of censored it too, because I'm trying to finish it up quick. The dad, he kind of like, you can tell he's kind of a creep even then, because there's even a scene where like I remember watching the original anime not that long ago. Basically, Ryunosuke finally she did was because she wears this thing that kind of covers her boobs, where it kind of like straps them to like her body, kind of like flattening them out, like a bandage thing. Basically, she took it off so that she could be more feminine. Then she got happy because some guy acknowledged that she was a woman and stuff. She goes home and the dad wakes up and then he's like, "Son, why are your chests like buffed up or something like that?" And then she kind of casually responds, "Because I'm a woman," and blah 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 blah. And then he pulls out a freaking like emergency kit. He pulls out like the little cotton balls, and he's like, "Son, we need to take care of the swelling quick."
Oh God,
Yes, it gets kind of creepy, and you're just, oh God, dude,
it's so
like,
dumb.
yeah, and like she beats the crap out of him because she's just like, no, like I'm gonna let them out because I'm a woman, and I just like it. I'm pretty happy with the fact that they introduced her,
Well,
and
she sounds like an interesting character. She sounds interesting. She
she's
sounds
very
funny.
interesting. Yeah, and then I just like the dynamic between the dad and her, how it's like
Yeah,
so.
the dad just sounds dumb. Like it
The
sounds
dad's super
funny,
dumb.
just dumb. I don't know. It sounds interesting. Like it really does
And
sound
then
interesting.
he made like 100 stories of how he met the mom. But then the point is, by the end, they find out that no one knows what the mom is like. Even he doesn't know. He's
What?
just like, yeah, like it's like it was like a one night stand or something.
Oh, jeez.
And so he's just kind of like, oh yeah, I don't know your mom, blah blah. It's just like it happened,
But then how did he
and
end up with a kid?
she probably gave it to him, and then she left,
Shouldn't
and that
he
was
have
it.
shouldn't he have seen the lady when
He
she
was
had the
probably
kid over?
drunk. He was probably drunk.
Oh God, that's so dumb.
Especially because he drinks a lot. That's what I think they show in the original. Like he's just like kind of like a drunkie and like an
Jeez.
abusive person. Um, and then they find a bunch of pictures of women, and then they're like, "Oh, is this my mom? Is this my mom?" No. Oh no. He's like, "Yeah." And he gives a whole story that's fake, and then in the end, he's like, "Yeah, I just paid these women to pretend that they were like your mom, basically."
Jeez. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So yeah, that was basically my week. I was just catching up on Urusei. Some of the stories have been pretty fun. Ditto came out in the last episode, or at least not Ditto, but it was like a star, a wishing star to look like Ditto. It
Oh,
can grant,
weird.
yeah, it can grant wishes. That happened, and yeah, it was pretty fun.
Gotcha. Huh. Okay
Yeah.
then.
At least I didn't explain the whole episode. At least I just explained the characters.
Yeah, I got you. Huh.
Yeah.
Jumping over to my week then. Same thing. It's gonna be very brief. The only thing I really did is I just was watching stuff I've talked about before, so nothing of note yet. Like I said, I'll give like a wrap up of the different anime, probably when they end at this point. So I get my
Yeah.
overall thoughts. But I was just catching up on anime. I caught up on some manga. Like I think Chainsaw Man had a new chapter like last week or something. I think that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Um, then a big thing I was doing is that using the Dolphin emulator, I was messing around with a lot of the texture packs that are available online. They're like fan
Nice.
created. And so I was just kind of messing around with a few games and I was playing using the texture packs. Like the one for the original Animal Crossing is pretty cool, makes everything look all nice and smooth and HD.
Nice. That sounds cool.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, then there's one for Mario. It's really cool. Mario Sunshine.
Yeah.
No, it looks really nice. Like even the poster, the poster when supposedly Mario's in trouble, like his wanted poster, it's all like blurry. With
Yeah.
the texture pack, it's all clear. Like it's really cool.
That sounds nice.
And then I messed with a few of them. Another one really cool was Luigi's Mansion. Same thing. It
Oh,
just makes everything look just like more like sharp and more like HD and stuff, which is pretty cool. So that was fun, just messing with different games, using the texture packs, that sort of thing. And that was, of course, on the Dolphin emulator because, yeah, it's come a long way. Then another thing I did of note, and this is kind of how we'll use this to jump into the direct, is that there was a game during the direct that they said, "Oh, the demo's out now," and so I was messing around with that. And that is, of
nice.
course, the Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe demo. That they released a demo for that, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna check it out." And yeah, it
I can't
plays
wait
like
for that.
it plays like your standard Kirby game. It's just fun. If you like Kirby, then you like the little platforming and using different moves to like traverse and scroll from left to right or whatever. That's what
Yeah.
you do. But I don't know. I mean, Kirby games are just fun. Like they're not very unless it has like a gimmick. Like Planet Robot is like the max, or Forgotten Land is the 3D,
The
or that's
object stuff, yeah.
yeah, or like what do you call the Wii one?
Epic Yarn.
Yeah, Epic Yarn. The whole thing about it's yarn aesthetic. Unless it has like a specific gimmick, if it's just kind of like a standard Kirby game, they all kind of play the same. But it's still
Yeah.
just fun, just being able to like run around and use the different moves and just make your way through the worlds and levels. And so that's kind of what it is. It's funny because it has a very unique art, not even unique art style, but instead of being like super realistic and like 3D, it has kind of like a cartoony maybe
3DS type of.
like storybook art style, maybe like everyone has like heavy little
Mm,
outlines and stuff.
yeah, that reminds me more like 3DS
Yeah,
ports.
maybe something like that. Yeah, but
Hmm.
it looks really nice. It plays, it's been a while since I've played Return to Dreamland, like the original, like the Wii or whatever. Or I don't remember what it came out
Yeah,
on
it
originally.
came on the Wii. It came out on the Wii. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember playing it a while ago. Seems to play pretty good from what I can tell so far, and it's just fun. And then, of course, after you defeat the first world, you unlock like a little amusement park where there's a bunch of little mini games. And yeah, it looks cool. It's gonna be a mix of like mini games and little challenges and traversing through the world as always. And then, of course, during the direct, they said there's going to be an extra epilogue chapter, so that'll be kind of cool. If you play the full game, there will be like an extra thing at the end, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And I was just here for my week, just dealing with work and um, dealing with all the IT stuff, which is annoying, and personal life stuff and everything. But
Yeah.
I did have some time, like I said, nothing too noteworthy, but I had time for, anime and manga and checking out that demo and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, we've kind of been alluded to it, so I think we should talk about the direct now. And the way it works is that, yeah, we're just going to talk about the direct. We're going to talk about stuff that came out, our opinions and thoughts on it, maybe stuff that we wish Nintendo would do. Just kind of, it's going to be pretty, it's not going to be like very organized. It's going to be more like free thought sort of thing, the way we'll approach this. And I was going to say, which I kind of wanted to do too, because I hadn't meant for all of the podcasts to just be like very strict and orderly. I did kind of want them to be more open to just discussion if possible. So it's kind of cool that this week that
Yeah.
we're coming back, we're just kind of do that. Just kind of let it go wherever it
Yeah.
needs to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I did want to start with trying to mention some of the bigger stuff. And like I said, we'll kind of just go from there. So the first thing that they showed in the direct, which I thought, oh, first take a step back. So yeah, the direct, it was funny because a lot of people thought it was coming. Nintendo usually does a direct in February, but people weren't sure when. And there was some leaks and there was some rumors. Some people had said it would be the week of the 6th, which the 6th was the Monday. But sure enough, on the 7th, which is Tuesday, they're like, hey, there's going to be a direct tomorrow, Wednesday the 8th. And so that was really cool. People had been
Hmm.
expecting it, and sure enough, it happened. And so that was cool. Now getting
Yeah, I
to the
was super
direct,
happy.
yeah, it was just really fun. I was like, oh my god, finally! It was just, every time there's a direct, I was excited just to see what they talk about.
Yeah.
So getting into what they talked about, the first thing they showed was Pikmin 4. And
Hmm.
Pikmin 4 has a release date. I want to say it was somewhere in July. I don't remember the exact date.
I
Anybody
think
can look
it
it
was
up.
July, yeah.
But yeah, it's in July, so that's pretty cool. It's coming out pretty soon. After like not hearing about this game for ages, it's kind of cool that it finally has a release date and it's not
Yo,
that far away, you
quote,
know?
quote unquote, we're almost done with Pikmin 4, guys.
Oh my god, yeah, that whole thing is so stupid.
I still
That was
remember
like
that
five
direct, even
years
as
ago
a
or
kid. Yeah.
something. Yeah, wasn't that back like in the Wii U?
That was like 6, 7 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like the end of the Wii U, and it ended up being like almost the end of like the Switch, maybe. Oh my god. But yeah, Pikmin 4 looked really cool. It definitely they gave it like a look overhaul. Like the games have always looked nice, like for the system they're on.
It looks
But
more glossy.
obviously, yeah, obviously this one because it's like using HD or whatever, it looks really nice. It's really cool that it looks like it's all new captains.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all new captains, so I don't know how that's gonna tie into the story. Something I thought of, I don't know why I thought it. When I saw the first captain, he looks kind of young. For some reason, I was wondering, might this be Olimar's son?
It could.
Because I don't know why I thought that. When I saw the protagonist for this one, like the main one, for some reason, the first thing I kept thinking of is he looks young. He looks like kind of like a kid. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it has
He
nothing to
could be
do
an
with,
apprentice or something.
yeah, maybe it has nothing to do with that. Maybe he's just a regular player, or I don't know. Maybe it'd be kind of cool if it's like, oh, he's Olimar's son, and this is like his training mission, like his first mission or something.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, we don't know what the story is, but we'll figure it out. It's always something pretty simple. But yeah, there's new captains. There's obviously new graphics to it. There's gonna be new Pikmin. Like they introduced, what was it like an ice Pikmin?
Oh, I was so happy they finally introduced like ice type. Like I was,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it looks pretty cool. It looks like there's new ways to approach stuff. Like, for instance, if we
Hmm.
focus on those ice Pikmin, you can throw them on enemies and they'll freeze the enemy solid, which is really cool as you're
Oh,
fighting.
thank God.
And then it showed that if you throw enough of them at a lake or like a body of water, it'll freeze it. So you can like walk across it, which is kind of cool.
That makes sense. I can see. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like there's gonna be like new ways to approach stuff like with like physics and like moves and stuff, which is kind of cool. And then like a
Hmm.
big part of it is that they show that there's this weird like dog creature that not only doesn't
Hmm.
fight, but you can like ride it around, which is really cool.
And you can cross the water using it or something like that. I remember too.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
another option to crossing water.
Yeah. So everything they show just looked cool. It just looks like an updated version of Pikmin where they just are adding more each time and it just has new
Yeah.
stuff. So I don't know what I saw. I was impressed. It really made me go like, oh, that looks fun. I'd like to try it out when it comes out,
Yeah.
honestly.
What I thought was
And
kind of oh wait, sorry.
no, I was gonna say, yeah, what were you gonna say?
What I find crazy is that we know that the pit those whatever they're called that they go crazy when it's nighttime. We've seen it before. Not with the
Oh,
red
that's
eye stuff.
right. Yes, yes,
We've seen
yes.
that they go crazy because they're animals and
Yeah,
at night
that's why
you
you have
usually
to
go out.
yeah, that's why you have to go into the atmosphere because when night falls, apparently like
They
everything goes crazy or something, right? Like they start like it's too violent, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Here they show that it gets to an extreme where they'll like act more quick and their eyes turn red. And so that's where it gets interesting because, yeah, in the first three games, I know that it is more kind of like the equivalent of normal animals, where normal animals in real life, you know, how they kind of go out at night to find small animals to eat and stuff like that.
Yeah, like hunting and stuff. They get
Exactly.
more like
So
yeah.
that's the thing where you can see it because it's like, oh, if you leave pigmen, they'll go and they'll hunt them and eat them. It makes sense. Here, though, you see it and it's like they go full on berserk and quick.
Yeah,
And
like
so
you
that's
said,
where,
it showed at some point in the trailer that's like, oh, like the night's falling, and one of those I forgot what they're called, but it's the ones
that's what
that
I'm saying. Yeah.
the ones you always see like on the cover that they're fighting. It's like those big uh
Red, ugly things. Yeah.
yeah, they're really round. It shows one of them go berserk, its eyes turn red, and it starts like stomping around and like it was crazy. So I wonder if that'll play a part in it. Like maybe it'll destroy stuff while you're gone. Might they add like a nighttime mode here every so often? Where you have to fight those and deal with
Hmm.
them. Like I don't know, but they definitely seem to be hinting at something having to do with that. That they go crazy at
Yeah.
night, and you're gonna actually maybe like deal with it or something. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is a 24-hour type gameplay. Because you know how in the other ones it's
Yeah,
like 12 hours type of
yeah.
thing?
I'm not sure though, because it does show them doing the normal thing where they fly into space. But maybe eventually, if you're strong enough, you can try to fight them at night or something. I guess
That
I don't
could be,
know
I mean, that could
because
be a
they
thing.
always add new stuff in each game. So who knows what we'll have to
Hmm.
deal with. But yeah, I was forgot about this. That was a good that was an interesting part of it for reals. Yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's coming out, like I said, like in July sometime. So that's pretty cool. I mean, the fact
On the
that
wish list.
the fact that it went from like missing in action to coming out really soon is pretty cool.
Hmm. Yeah, finally.
I
Two
know.
seconds later, finally finished.
Oh
Freaking
gosh.
Miyamoto.
I know. It's almost done, guys.
It's
Oh
almost done, guys. Like, what the?
oh gosh. Moving on. After Pikmin, I'm not gonna remember the exact order, but I know at some point they showed DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which seemed cool
Hmm.
if you're into that game. They show a lot of DLC for Fire Emblem Engage, which is crazy. That game like just came out and they're already like planning a bunch of DLC for it. It was kind of
The
funny.
expansion pack, yeah.
Yeah. They showed DLC for those two games. They showed I'm trying to kind of jump around. I have like a list of things in front of me. There's some stuff I want to see for later, obviously. So
Castlevania? Oh.
yeah, the Castlevania one was pretty interesting. It's Castlevania. It's Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, so it's a Castlevania mixed with that game Dead Cells. It has like a whole new aesthetic, and it has like like an interesting like the 8-bit art style, and like you
Hmm.
play as one of the characters and stuff. So that's kind of cool. They showed. Oh, this one that was really interesting. They showed We Love Katamari Reroll. It's called We Love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie. So I guess kind of like how Katamari Damacy was like a remake of Katamari Damacy, this one's gonna be like a remake slash like update of We Love Katamari. And it's so funny because me and Terrific, we just finished Katamari Damacy. It just went up not that long ago, the ending. And he was saying, is there any other more Katamari games? And I told him, yeah, there are, but that I know of, they're all like back on the PS2. And I'm like, so I
Mm.
mean, I told him, so we could play them, but we just have to kind of track them down, figure out how to play them. And we had just said that, and then sure enough, he's like, they haven't ported more, and I'm like, no, not yet. And sure enough, they announced this like right now, and he
And
was
we love
saying, like,
Katamari, yeah.
yeah, he was saying, he's like, you have like a weird, like he says that I have like a weird, like
Predicting thing.
not even predicting thing, but like kind of, but like where I'm able to like if we're playing something like a sequel or like a port will get announced so we can continue with like the series. Or if I've mentioned a game I want to play, there's like a port so we can play like an updated version of it. It keeps
Yo,
happening, which
bro,
is really funny.
Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are watching you.
Maybe because I remember I was like, oh, we should play like, No More Heroes 1 or we should like play No More Heroes soon or whatever. And like as we're doing that, it's just like, oh, No More Heroes 3 is coming, guys. And it's like we had not heard about No More Heroes like forever. Right? It was something like that. It was just really funny.
Yeah,
It's happened a few times with different things we've talked about. So I don't
yeah,
know. But I'm excited. I love Katamari. And I think people say that this one's even better than
yeah.
Damacy. I think people like this one even more. So the fact that it's coming out, I'm excited to check that out. And maybe it'll go on the channel depending on when it comes out and if we can get to it. So that's pretty fun.
Lol, we love Katamari.
I know it's such a weird title, but
Especially because you
whatever.
said I love, and I'm like, ah,
Oh, I got you.
yeah.
Then after that, they showed a few like anime, you can almost call it aesthetic games that were interesting. One of them was Deca Police, which it looks like
Oh
if
yeah.
I remember, I think that's the one that looks like it's made by the same people as Danganronpa. Was it? Was it this one?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Oh
this is the
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. I know about that game. I know about
Yeah,
that game. Yeah.
hopefully I'm not confusing it with a different one because they have similar titles or whatever, and they kind of show them all back to back. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's the one that looks kind of like Danganronpa, and it's where you're like a police officer in like a virtual world, and it's something about like you can use like powers to look at like crime scenes and stuff. Like there's one where you can use like your power to look at like what happened in the past, and another one where you can like see people's heartbeat to see if they're lying and a bunch of stuff or something like that. That looks really cool. Then there was one called Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. That's supposed to be like a update of like an older game, I believe, where it's like, oh, like your character's dead, like it literally shows like his body just laying there, and you can like use your soul to jump into something close by. And it's almost, I guess, like a puzzle game, from what I understood, where you have to like jump into different objects and activate them to like do stuff in the world. So the example it shows that your body's just lying there dead, and there's this guy that's pointing a gun at a girl, so you have to like jump into different things to like I think it was like hit like a crane that like knocks the guy down. That way he won't shoot the lady or something like that, right? If I got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one looked interesting. I don't know how that works, but it looked kind of fun where it's like, oh, it's like a weird puzzle game involving like throwing your soul into different things nearby. Like I'd never heard that series before, but that seems interesting. Um then they showed Octopath Traveler 2, and they said the demo for that is also out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Octopath Traveler is one of those games that looked really cool, but the first one, it just kind of not bored me, but it just felt like it was too much. Where like none of the stories were really connected, so there wasn't really an interest in really like it was hard. Like I get what they're trying to do, but they need to like really configure things better and set up a little bit better because it was hard to really care when none of the stories were really connected and the interactions with people weren't that like
Yeah.
great. There was just like a couple here and there were kind of fun. Like it felt like 8 stories like matched together, and like these characters matched together, and it wasn't that like cohesive. So hopefully the
Yeah.
second game, like does it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Then what else? Oh, Advanced Wars 1 and 2. Those finally, after like a year of being delayed, they finally said that yes, it's supposed to release in a couple months. So it's like finally.
Yeah.
Then I've heard of the series, but I've never played it. Whenever I look up like what games were good for the GameCube, this always comes up like in the top list.
Oh, I know
It's
what
a
you're talking
series
about.
called Batten Kaitos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna say you sound really low. I don't know if you're like away from the mic. You might want to like step up to it.
Oh yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, you're like really far. But yeah, Batten Kaitos. I've heard of this series before. Like I said, I've always seen it's supposed to be really good. And apparently we are getting Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD remaster. So
Nice.
that's pretty cool because, like I said, it's a series I've definitely heard of. So it getting like a little bit of a revival with these ports, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then what else did they talk about? They talked about Some of these I'll just kind of mention them, but I might not really talk about them because I don't really remember too much. There was Master Detective Archives Rain Code. Gotta admit, I don't remember what that one's about.
Oh, that's the one that remember how earlier you were saying that the which one the Deca Police that was like the
Danganronpa
Donga
style.
yeah. No, that's actually yeah, Master Detective Archives Rain Code.
Oh, that's the one that looked
Because I was
Danganronpa
doing
style.
research right now as we're talking,
Okay,
and
good.
yeah, I when you were going through the two police ones, I'm like, wait, these aren't the ones you're mentioning, or at least you got one of like one or two of them right. It's the yeah, Rain Code is the one that you mentioned earlier. Then
Okay.
the other one you mentioned was right, and then yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because one of them, the
yeah,
point is they look like Danganronpa, and like I said, you had like those like powers, and the other one was one where it's like, oh, it's like a virtual world, and you're some sort of police officer, right?
mm-hmm,
Yeah. So I guess I had it. Deca Police is the virtual world one, and then Master Detective Archives Rank Code is the Danganronpa looking style. There you
mm-hmm,
go.
yeah,
Then they mentioned Minecraft Legends. They mentioned Fashion Dreamer, which looks like it's like a continuation of the Style Savi series. They had Omega Strikers, Tale of Symphonia Remastered.
which is
They had
pretty
that,
cool, yeah.
yeah, they had that Disney Dreamlight Valley game,
Oh
which
boy,
that one looks kind of interesting. I kind of would like to check it out because it's like you can go to all the little different little Disney
Disney
universes to hang out, and everyone's like hanging out together, like in a almost like Animal Crossing style, where everyone's like living in a little like village or something.
Utopia.
Yeah, I would kind of like to check it out at some point. There was a game called Blanc. That's like a little indie game about like a deer and like a fox, I think.
I've seen it, yeah, it's pretty cute.
There was Etrian Odyssey. I think it's like the first three games. That one was kind of cool, where it looks like it's about dungeon. It's like a dungeon crawler, but you actually make the map yourself.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting. So like you're
oh, that's
charting the
pretty
map
cool.
as you're going through the dungeon, which is really interesting. They showed the Bayonetta prequel where it's called Cereza and the Lost Demon, where it's Cereza, then she has the demon Cheshire, and it's like a little like puzzle little game. Kind of reminds me of when I played on the channel the Blind Prince and the what was it called? The Monster Princess or something like that. I don't remember what's called. Something like that.
The witch, the little witch or something like that. I forgot what it
Yeah, something
was.
like that. Where it's like two people working together and
Um,
it's like puzzles and stuff. It kind of reminds me of that.
yeah.
Then there was Sea of Stars. Gotta admit, I don't even remember which that one was. Unfortunately, there was
Some of these I don't recognize, honestly,
yeah,
even though I watched the whole thing.
yeah, there was Harmony. I don't remember which one that one was. Power Pros, some sort of baseball game, I think.
It was a
There was some
baseball
sort of
game,
like a
yeah.
Tron game where it's like a Tron, like almost like light visual novel where you like make choices and talk to people, which is different. Have a Nice Death. I don't remember. It was some sort of like a little like maybe like a little roguelite or
Oh,
something.
I remember. They announced that at the Game Awards, and that was the one I remember where it shows like the little platformer where he opens the vaults and he's trying to look for stuff, and then he goes like trying to like get souls or something like that. It's like a little platformer.
Like I have to look into that one. That sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, that was they announced it at the Game Awards a few years ago.
Yeah, because some of these I'm talking about, they kind of just showed them during like a sizzle reel, so it was like very
Yeah,
quick.
even Bayonetta, I think they announced it at Game Awards of last year as well. That I didn't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that one, that's true.
Hmm.
Then there was the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. There's like 10 of those games. So if you like those games, that's pretty cool. There was the Fantasy Life game, which looks really cool. It looks kind of like an RPG, more advanced version of like Animal Crossing, where you do a bunch of like life sim stuff, which is kind of cool. Then I think we're kind of through most of them. So the ones that are left are kind of ones I want to talk about a little more in depth. I think that's basically it.
Yeah.
The ones I really want to talk about, one last one, I guess, that I don't really know too much about the series, but I thought was kind of cool. There's going to be a new Professor Layton game.
I was super happy they showed that because
Yeah, I've never really played those games, but I know people love them, and I know people were sad that it looked like the that company was like shutting down or something. I think I heard something like
Mhm.
that. So the fact that they're making a new game is really cool. Actually, that makes me happy. It's
Yeah,
nice to see series that people love continue. Like I would
yeah.
never wish for like a series that people like really like. I would never be like a dick and be like, oh, screw those people. I hope they like closes down. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I was happy they brought it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, with all those out of the way, to get into some more of the heavy hitters that we have left. It's kind of a heavy hitter. Samba the Amigo's back, which is really interesting.
Oh, that was super cool. That was such a surprise.
Yeah, I did not expect that. What is kind of weird is that it looks a little different. It looks like it's like if it was kind of like Just Dance mixed with
Hmm.
Samba de Amigo, like the aesthetic. You know how Just Dance has a certain aesthetic, and then
Like
it
bright
looks like
colors and all
yeah, it
that
looks like
stuff.
it's that. But I'm hoping it's still a fun game. Hopefully, it looks like there's a lot of costumes for Samba and stuff. So hopefully, it at least still feels somewhat like the original. Hopefully, it's not just like, oh, it's like a reskin or yeah, because Ubisoft's the one that makes Just Dance, and this is made by Sega, the Samba the Amigo game. So hopefully, it
Hmm.
still feels somewhat like the original Samba. Maybe just like
Hmm.
updated, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely a surprise. That was pretty fun.
They announced it so casually too. That's what I just remembered too.
Yeah, it's
Is
just like,
it?
oh, here's a Samba de Amigo Party Central
It's like, bruh,
rhythm game.
how am I supposed to take that so like casually? Like that's a very big surprise. Like,
I know, that was so
yeah.
weird. Then they announced more DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which we already knew was coming. But what's cool is that not only was it an original level, it's some sort of like Yoshi's Island course, which is pretty cool. But they announced that they're gonna have a new character. They're gonna add Birdo to the game,
Let's go.
which I think she hasn't been in it since Mario Kart Double Dash.
That's what I was gonna mention. Yeah.
So that's really exciting because that means that not only are they adding more maps, which has been like really fun that they've been adding to the game, over time, but that means that this also opens the door to more characters.
Hmm.
So that could either be characters that were in it before and didn't make it back, or maybe it could even be characters that are in the phone game. They might make their
Hmm.
first appearance. Like maybe we can get Mayor Pauline. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So I don't know. I mean, they continue to really deliver with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Like they're really making that game kind of like Smash Bros. They're just really stretching it out, which is really cool.
Yeah. We can finally get Cloud and Mario
But yeah, a
Kart
lot of people was dumb. I saw people were like, "Oh my god!" And then they were mentioning all these characters that like were like
and
third party
Sora.
characters, and I'm like, "No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure they're like kind of focused on some of those Nintendo characters that have been in other games or like the mobile game guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they're
Especially
gonna work
Dolan
that
and
hard.
Goffy.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna work like that hard at characters, guys. Calm down.
Yeah. Me and like Dolan and Goffy are gonna
Oh
join.
God, right? But not Sora though. Just Dolphin and
Donald the
Coffee.
Goofy. Just Donald the Goofy, yeah.
Oh, he's so dumb.
Gosh. Every single time you do like the little tricks.
Oh my gosh, right? He just yells it out. Then they talked about Splatoon 3 DLC. One part of the DLC is that you can return back to the original Inkopolis from the first game, which is kind of cool. And the second part they didn't talk too much about, but it looked interesting, is they're gonna have this like DLC that looks really serious.
Like it's like a blank space or some weird thing like
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah.
there's like a squid girl, and it looks like she's like something about like memories and like her past or something. That's kind of what I'm getting from it.
Hmm.
But I don't know, like Octo Expansion, people really liked it. It was like a really big update for the second game. Hopefully people are hoping that this expansion will be really big for this third game.
Hmm.
It'll be like a nice
Um,
piece of lore, a lot of gameplay and stuff.
Especially because it seemed like from the first ever trailer we even got of the third game back in like 20, that was 2020, right?
I think it
When
was. I
we,
think that was during the pandemic. Yeah.
yeah. What's creepy was that the overworld that we got introduced to before the game actually starts, it's like a very dystopian desert world.
Oh yeah. I don't know if they really
And
ever addressed that.
that kind of gives the implication that that there might be a civilization that reset. And so I feel like this side order might connect to that in some way.
Yeah, because I know that the main game it does talk about like mammals and stuff has to
Yeah.
do with all that, but I feel like they didn't really address it as much as you thought they would, if I remember. So maybe this one will add a little more lore and more information, which it seems like I said, the second one definitely seemed to add a lot. I'd say people liked it. So
Hmm.
hopefully this third one does that too, where it really pushes things forward and adds like a lot of stuff to it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, coming down to some of the final things, I guess I'll talk about it had been hinted for a while that there was going to be a remaster of the Metroid Prime games as we're waiting for the fourth one to come out to tide people over. And sure enough, it's kind of disappointing it's only one of them, but they announced Metroid Prime Remastered, the first game, and they dropped it the exact same day they announced it, which is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
digitally, which oh my God. And then like the thing is that it looks so good. It doesn't even look like a remaster. it looks like they basically full on like remade the
Yeah, a
graphics
lot
and
of people have been saying that. They're like, this doesn't feel like just like an HD like
remaster.
upscale, like some games where it's just like, oh, they like, upscale a little bit. They're like, this feels like really different. And it even, especially because it gives you like a whole bunch of like different ways you could like control it and stuff, I believe they
Play the
said.
game, yeah.
Yeah, so there's like a whole bunch of like different controls you can use. The game, it looks like it's almost made from the ground up. So from what I've seen, I haven't like been able to like play it yet. Well, I would like to. People say from what I've seen that they seem they're really impressed with it. Like they're really enjoying it.
hmm Especially because, like, dude, I was watching the stream on like a really crappy like resolution because I was like outside the house trying to get back from like school, and I literally looked at like the lava and everything, and I'm like, no, that looks too good to be like an HD remake. I'm like, I mean, remaster. Like that looks too good. And I
Yeah.
was like, dude, like this is, and then I like the fact that they added the little menu music, and I was like, oh,
Mm,
they had to put the
that's
iconic
cool.
music. Yeah,
Like I said, the only thing that sucks is that like it's so
it's
awkward
just
because
one of the games.
yeah, so like it's like, oh, what games can you play on the Switch? The first game and maybe the fourth game. Like, why can't we play two and three? Shrug.
Yeah, like they, unless can you
Like
imagine if it's like the second and third one are non-canon?
oh god, it's kind of like the Pikmin, where like, why did they just give us all the first three Pikmin? It's like, no, you can play three, you can play four.
Like why?
Like, why not one and
hmm
two? No, just three and
hmm
four. Like, it's so weird when it's like incomplete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then let's see, we have two things left. So I know which one I'm saying for the end for obviously. So the other thing that they announced that was also based on like a rumor that people had like known forever and were hoping it would happen, and like Nintendo just wasn't making it happen, is they finally added Game Boy / Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance to the Nintendo Switch online
I was
service.
so happy, bro. I saw that and then like
Yeah, like people were expecting it like, oh my god, like what, almost a year ago or something like that, and it just wasn't happening. It
there
wasn't
was a
happening.
leak, an emulator, like
Yeah, and then
yeah.
finally they added the damn thing, and it's pretty cool. The lineup seems all right. I mean, there's some stuff people are disappointed. Like, okay, once again, where's Mother 3? It's right there, Game Boy Advance. Where's Mother 3? And then
Yeah.
other people are, disappointed that there didn't seem to be any Pokemon games.
Yeah.
So it's like I'd like to play, Pokemon games. It kind of sticks to not seem like they're
Like
available.
fire red and leaf green and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know, the lineup they had wasn't bad. For the Game Boy Advance side, I was excited that they Minish Cap, Legend of Zelda Minish Cap.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
Minish
I'm
Cap's a really great game.
yeah, I remember I played not the whole thing, but I did play it once. I think like I rented it from somewhere and I played a good part of it. And I remember having fun with it. Like the whole gimmick is that you have a companion that he looks almost like a duck in the hat.
hmm
And the whole gimmick from that game is you can shrink down to like
Yeah,
investigate
I remember.
stuff.
I played the game. Yeah.
So I'm excited to try that out at some point because it's been forever since I played it. And I don't know, it might be an excuse to play it since it's like on the service. I don't know if I
hmm
remember. But yeah, they
Um.
finally added these games and they, as always, say, oh, there's more coming in the future, which is kind of cool. The only thing that's disappointing is once again, like, damn, where are those Pokemon games?
Yeah, that's what makes it sad. Um. What's cool is that the whole thing with the hat. What's cool is that basically that's like the first canonical thing outside of the first game, which is like canonically Skyward Sword or something like that. That this is basically the first instance where like the hero wears like a green hat or something like that.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
because
then
I think from what we've gotten so far, it's supposed to be like after Skyward Sword at some point, right?
there was another hero, but then after that hero, after like the Minish helped him,
Yeah, because
you know,
here, it's not any sort of like Ganondorf. It's another evil
Vontae.
wizard. Yeah, it's another evil wizard. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, so it's super cool that that's like the second well, second by game order, maybe like the 10th or like like third by like lore wise basically. Yeah, of heroes basically.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The only thing that me and like you have talked about, me and Terrific have talked about, I've seen people commented about before, is that
Cheers.
it still doesn't feel worth having to pay for like every month to play these games.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're gonna for sure like literally dedicate to like play through everything available, then sure, that doesn't sound too bad because they're gonna be there for you so you can access them. But like Terrific was telling me, he's like, I like the virtual console where you can literally just pay like $5 for like whatever game you wanted.
And you have it stuck on your system.
Yeah, versus here we have to pay like a certain amount each month to maybe play like if you're not gonna like into everything, to like maybe play one thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what kind of sucks. And we're saying is that I think where it would start to feel worth it is when if they finally add a GameCube.
That's what I was thinking,
That's
yeah.
where I think it would finally start to feel worth it because GameCube games, you can't really just buy them anymore anywhere. Like if you want to play like any of like the really good games,
For like
they're
a
like really
hundred
expensive
bucks.
now. Yeah, like
Or
$100 or whatever.
500.
And even then, emulation. Like I'm glad I have like a really strong computer. I can like play them easy, but not everyone does, and that's where it
Yeah,
starts to
that's the
get like
problem.
because anyone can emulate like a Game Boy Advance game. Like even your phone can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like grandma's pacemaker can do that.
Yeah.
Granny's pacemaker can do that. But once you reach like GameCube and like like a newer, that's where it starts to get a bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it would become worth it. That like okay, if you're gonna give us GameCube games like on a service, that's where it would start to feel worth paying for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think before the Switch is dead, I do think they're gonna at least reach GameCube. I think they will, especially because of the whole Mario All-Stars thing, how when people were looking at it, the it was based on some sort of like an emulator, like underneath like the Switch or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's there. I don't so I think that I think it will at least reach GameCube. I think they have planned to go that far. The only bad thing is that it's taken them so long to get there.
We could have had GameCube at this point, and could have had like Wii maybe too.
Yeah, like
And literally like,
there's no reason that it took like 3 years just to get like NES.
mm-hmm.
Like that should have been like super like almost out of the box. That should have been like year two.
Yeah.
And then we could have like progressed so much farther. But they're just like every year they add like a new thing, so it's taking forever. But I'm still holding out hope that I think it will reach at least GameCube. I think it will,
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to.
but we'll see. Speaking of which, before we jump into the last one, because honestly there was a lot, but at the same time there wasn't that much. So like, eh. Speaking of like stuff Nintendo does, yeah, it drives me crazy how Nintendo runs stuff. Like I don't know. I kind of get them getting rid of Virtual Console because I think they're kind of trying to copy Microsoft with the whole like Game Pass thing.
No,
But
they
if that's
suck
the
at
case, yeah, why are you doing it so slow? Why do you not give people more options? Why is it so expensive?
why do you guys
Why
suck?
is the online so crappy? And some of the games have a lot of problems until they patch them. Like,
Yeah.
and then I don't know. Nintendo does just some weird things. Like another for instance, is that there was nothing new Mario related in this
Mm-hmm.
direct. And that's another
Yeah.
thing. Why do they only do one Mario generation?
Yeah.
The only time that they broke that rule is well back on the NES, but I think it's because they didn't know they were gonna have other consoles.
I've mentioned it. Yeah, it was like 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah. But the only other time they broke that was with the Wii when they did Mario Galaxy 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's because like, oh, Mario Galaxy 2 was just leftover ideas.
From the development of the first one, yeah.
But like, why don't they take those extra ideas and just make like exactly like if you guys had, let's say, the same thing for Odyssey, right? Because we know they had like leftover stuff for Odyssey. Then why don't you do the same thing? Just give us a little spin-off or a little sequel that uses those ideas or give us DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do you refuse to give people more of what they want? Like, so many people want more Mario, and instead of being like, okay, we'll give you some DLC because that game was huge.
They're
No,
like, no.
yeah, no. And we'll give you a proof of concept with Bowser's Fury. It looks really cool, but then we'll just like tease you guys, and that's all you get.
Mm-hmm. Especially because like it's so dumb because yeah, there was like a bunch of proof of concept where it was like um yeah, one of them was like a ghost level that
Mm-hmm.
had water involved. The implication would have been that like compared to like the more like quote unquote cheerful and summer like, Seaside Kingdom, here it would be more creepy, which would make sense because that would be like the level where the eels would be introduced and all that other stuff. Yeah, they got rid of that and they just kind of said, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna give like." They could have literally used that for like a sequel. That's what I'm getting at. They
Yeah,
could have
no.
just to give us a creepy underwater level. And nah, yeah,
Yeah, and I remember there was like, this really cool concept art where it was Rosalina hanging out in casual clothes, like playing like a guitar or something.
Hmm.
It's exactly. Why don't you like put that in like some sort of level somewhere? Like
And she's
that.
just hanging around, and then you just
Yeah,
talk to her.
and it would be kind of cool because that way, like, oh, we see more of like the characters from the Mario world just hanging out doing stuff outside of the
Hmm.
games. Like that would be kind of cool. Like, oh, Rosalina's hanging out over there. Let's go hang out with her and see what she says. And then I don't know. And like Nintendo refuses to do stuff. It's so annoying. Um, Same thing with like the whole mother thing. Like where people are holding out hope that if they have the Game Boy Advance emulator, maybe they'll finally, give people Mother 3. We'll have to
Yeah,
see.
me being a Mother fan, I'm pretty like I'm hoping that
But
they
it's
do
so
it.
annoying that you just have to hope.
Yeah,
Like,
you just have to hope,
what's
and that's it.
yeah, because Nintendo's so weird doing stuff, you know what I mean? Like, why haven't they brought back like F-Zero? Oh, because we can't think of like a good gimmick for it. You don't need a gimmick at this point. When it's been like 20, 30 years, just upscaling it and giving people like a fun online mode, that's
That
enough.
you call it a day by that point. Like,
Like I can understand maybe the one after that, but there's some games you don't really need a gimmick. You just have to like give the people some fun gameplay and it's fine.
or just make a story mode or something, and then the story mode just like make it the same thing as always. Just freaking Captain Falcon. He's going against the other dude,
Yeah, exactly,
the
man.
Bad Blood
Exactly.
or whatever. And then that's it. You're just racing against those racers. Like that's
Exactly.
literally
With like
it.
HD graphics and stuff and like
And
online
cut
modes.
scenes, literal cut scenes. That's
Yeah.
it.
Oh my God. Like Star Fox is another thing. There has not been a Star Fox since the Wii U, and the Wii U one sucked because it was like a remake again,
Of Star
reboot,
Fox
whatever.
64.
And then I saw there was a digital gaming video that pissed me off where there was going to be a game called Star Fox Armada that
Mhm,
sounded really
I saw
interesting.
that. Yeah.
Although the one thing I didn't like is that once again it was again going to be a reboot.
Of course it was.
It's like you guys are so stupid. Like people liked characters like Crystal and like Panther Caruso and stuff. Like you where you guys left off of the
Hmm.
story wasn't bad. Like just pick one of the damn endings from Command or ignore them, whatever. But just keep those characters and just advance the story. It's not that hard.
Yeah, like they could have literally just been like, "Oh yeah, forget all the endings for Command. It's just Fox, Crystal, and everyone's back together again because why not or
They just made
something."
up. They made up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they all made up, and she left, like Starwolf, and yeah, they're just going on adventures. They're trying to stop Andros, and Starwolf, and that's it.
Oh God.
That's
But no,
literally it. That's
no,
it.
it's too hard. We have to reboot it again, and we have to like try. I don't know. It's so stupid.
And then
Um,
maybe
and it's just like that, where like there's so many series that they could return to and they just don't. Or there's a lot of like IPs that they just don't pay attention to. Like I've always wondered, why haven't they made a new version of Ice Climbers?
that's true, especially because it's so simple. You can just literally be like, "Oh yeah,
Like
3D
it,
models, but 2D plane. That's it."
yeah. And it's such an easy like it's snow. We don't really have any like games except for like Mario levels, every so often like in the snow or ice levels or
Yeah.
whatever. Like literally it's this gameplay from like the original Ice Climbers where it's them climbing the mountains and doing all these things, but just update it to the current day where it's like 3D, like you said, maybe in 2.5D or whatever. And it's about these two little people that you work together to like climb the mountain and collect stuff and fight like monsters. Like it's not like
Yeah.
why? Why is there no new updated Ice Climbers? You guys clearly care about them by putting them in Smash like, every time.
Because we not only have to protect the polar bears and the weird freaking midget birds, we also have to protect the seals as well, okay? Especially the
Uh,
seals, especially the seals.
I guess so, man. I don't
Yeah, that's
know.
why. So we can't do that anymore.
Oh gosh, but yeah, there's just so much stuff Nintendo does where like there's IPs they could bring back or continue or whatever, and they don't, and it sucks, and we don't know when they're ever gonna get attention. Um, there's ports they could do that they're just not doing. Like they never give us Galaxy 2, which people wanted. They gave us Galaxy 1.
That's the thing. People thought that for some reason. That's the thing. They thought that people thought that this direct they were going to give us Super Mario Galaxy 2, and there was no evidence to back it up though. That's what I saw though.
Yeah, that's the
But
part
they
that's dumb.
could have. That's what's dumb when people like try to like say that supposedly they found evidence
But
and they never have the
but
evidence.
it really is true where it's like, why not? What's
Why
stopping
not
you
though?
guys?
Yeah.
Like, another thing that pisses me off as we're talking about it is why haven't they given us the damn Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ports? People want
That's
them
what I was
really bad.
thinking.
people have been asking for them. Why can't they just give it to us? Like, what does it
Especially because
cost them to give it to us?
the system's literally gonna die any second, basically by this point, like in a few years. Bruh, like at least for the last two official titles by Nintendo, release Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, at least.
Especially since those are like big favorites.
Yeah, and I'm saying if those are gonna be the last two, at least make it known and at least be like, this is our farewell for the system. Here, have these two great games, and that's it.
Because at that point, basically I was just thinking about it. Every Zelda game would be on the Switch available. Think about it, because
Especially if they want
you would have the original ones because of the NES emulator.
the Super Nintendo game.
What would be the Link to the Past? You would have Link's Awakening, both the remake and the Game Boy Color version. You would have the N64 versions of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. You would have the Game Boy Advance Minish Cap. You would have Skyward Sword, because that was a Wii game that's now on, ported to this. You have Breath of the Wild. You have Breath of the Wild 2, which is, Tears of the Kingdom. And then all that's missing would be the GameCube games / Wii U games. That's literally all that's missing. All we're missing would literally be the ones I was just saying, Twilight Princess and Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and from what it seems, based off the Game Boy thing, yeah, Oracle games.
Oh,
are
yes, I'm sorry, Oracle games. I forgot.
Really needed to remind you. Yeah,
they're coming too. So literally, the only thing that literally wouldn't be on here if they pour those two over, the only thing missing
would be DS games.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, unless like we said, they add maybe DS and GameCube together to the service.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it. Let's say they do add GameCube and DS. Then the only thing missing would be like those two games, because they're technically like a Wii / Wii U. If you look at like the HD versions, like how embarrassing would that be to have all the Zelda games except like those two?
Yeah, it's super dumb. And then, like, even then, when we mentioned the whole thing with the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance, we know that all the spin-off games, like the Four Swords, which I mean, Four Swords is canon, I know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, every Zelda game in general will just be on the Switch by this point. Because there's Four Swords, then there's Four Swords Adventures. And then
at least with those, at least the excuse you get if they don't get added is that I've never seen anybody like really say those are their favorites.
Yeah, they're not though. But the
so
point
as
is
sad as that is, at least it would be like, well, not too many people care about them. So
yeah, and then the story's pretty simple. It's just, oh yeah, Link grabbed the Four Sword, he split it to four people, they save Princess Zelda, they get back to normal again. That's basically it. Yeah.
But yeah, almost every game would be on here. So it's like, why have you not ported those damn games, guys? It's so stupid.
That's it. That's all they say.
Ah, God, it's ridiculous. All right, we mentioned it earlier, so we might as well talk about it now. The last thing they talked about is they, of course, talked more about Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of my blood.
In a way, I like what they talked about. It was cool. They showed more gameplay. Definitely continues to build hype. It looks really fun. But at the same time, I'm disappointed because they still haven't really said anything about what the hell the game's about. Like, we don't really know what the gimmick is. We don't really know what the point is. I was telling Terrific, I almost would have preferred that they did the marketing backwards. By that, what I mean is that nothing has surpassed so far that first trailer. So it almost makes me wish. I wish they had shown us the gameplay updates first to kind of tease us. And I wish that what got released, during this last direct, I wish had been the trailer.
And maybe like Ganon talking as well and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Because the way it stands now, the most exciting thing was shown to us first, where it's like, oh my God, it's, Link and Zelda, and they're exploring, and they run into something scary, and we see the murals on the wall, which, makes us think that there's going to be like a big lore drop or like a deep dive into like, events from the past. That was really cool and mysterious. And then that's all we got. And all these shows since then is like, oh yeah, there's like some gameplay where you're flying around, and there's gameplay where you're controlling like a car thing, and Ganon talks. And like, that's cool, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't surpass that first trailer.
Yeah, there's not really any information, the new one, yeah.
Or anything exciting except like, oh, look at some stuff you can do, which like, It looks cool, but like there's nothing like super like, oh my God, it blows my mind.
Especially because that whole thing where like basically Link reaches out to whoever that was, like we don't really know who that is. So like it's not really like that much information. You know what I'm saying? Like we never got to
Yeah.
see the person's full appearance to be like, oh yeah, we definitely recognize who that is. Thank you for actually showing us more
Like
details.
I don't
Like
know if it's because that's if it's that full of spoilers or what. I don't know, but it's so weird,
I
man.
feel like they have to release a new trailer soon.
But the game is literally like 2 months away.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They have to like put another one because like if they know that like they're being all weird where they're not like refusing to like show us more details, they have to like throw it out as soon as possible so we know it. And
But literally with this game, what a lot of people are saying, they put pre-orders start now. Usually they do the pre-order message when they have that big thing to show off.
then I don't know, they're being weird.
Yeah, I don't know if they're being
Unless
like too
unless they're
mysterious for
yeah,
some
that's
reason.
probably
They don't want
that.
to spoil. But if they don't want to spoil something, they don't. But then what they should have showed us, for instance, was okay, people want dungeons back, right?
Yeah.
How hard would it be to show some sort of Link's walking into a dungeon, or he's like you could tell he's in a room of a dungeon,
Mhm.
like some sort of little gameplay snippet that makes people go like, "Holy shit!" Dungeons are back.
Yeah, or new enemies that aren't just like casual
Yeah,
reskins from the other game.
exactly something. Then, if you guys are afraid of spoilers, something just minor, some sort of little bite that makes people go, "Holy shit!" That's like a really cool thing I wanted to return, or something like new.
Hmm.
'Cause like I said, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful because what they did show was kind of cool. We
You are
had a voice
ungrateful. Okay.
for Ganondorf or whatever. It was an all right voice. It was fine. Then it showed that the moon looks like it's gonna play a bigger part, where it like infects the monsters and makes them like
Kind of
stronger
like
and
the first
crazier.
game, yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. It looks like the moon's gonna play a bigger part, maybe. Like I said, it shows Link flying around in some sort of like a metal. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like a metal thing he's flying on. And it shows him like controlling some sort of like a car looking vehicle because he's controlling like technology. It showed him shooting like some sort of like an arrow that arcs and hits the enemy, which is kind of cool.
Nice.
And then they showed that the arm is definitely going to be like a big component, the crazy arm he has.
Yeah.
But besides that, one thing that for sure it's kind of it's I think it's going to disappoint a lot of people. A lot of people either want Zelda, if not playable, which the dream would be for her to be like playable. If not playable, then at least have her play like a big part. Help her be like a psychic that follows you around or like really contributes. They literally show a part where it looks like she's gonna fall in a damn hole, and Link's reaching out to her, and she says like, "Please lend him your power." And it's like, is she gonna be dead in this damn game again?
Yeah, probably.
That is so lame. Like, oh my god, that's so stupid. Like, why can't you at least put her like in Hyrule Castle doing stuff then? Like,
Mm.
if she's gonna be like not like important, then at least like have the dignity to like let her like be doing something somewhere else then or something. Don't just have her like dead again. That's so stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty, I don't really know what to like because of how like the game it's been kind of weird. Um,
But that's what it's
also,
hinting at. That's what I'm saying. I could be wrong, but that seems to be what it's hinting at. Where
that's
it's
what I'm
just gonna be
saying. Yeah, it's been kind of
oh, she's gonna fall in a hole again, but she's gonna like ask someone to like lend Link the power, and that's how he'll get the arm, I guess, to like do Link stuff. Like, I don't
yeah,
know.
because yeah, like the art, I thought it looks pretty nice. It looks like not only is it just like the Breath of the Wild art, it looks like it's really gonna be like trying. They've been keeping this whole thing where they're like, no, man, every other game is connected to this one. It's like, pay attention.
Mm.
You can tell they're really trying to drag in that like Wind Waker, Skyward Sword, and like Twilight Princess art style.
Hmm.
Especially when you look up at the sky and you look at the water, it looks more cartoony and more light and
Hmm.
stuff. So that's why I like the gameplay. But yeah, the story's been kind of weird where it's like they barely even hit anything. And it just looks like, oh yeah, it's just Hyrule, but like 2 times bigger. That's it.
Yeah, the difference is this time it's bigger because there's gonna be like sky stuff to explore.
Yeah, and it's like that's it. It looks the same map. Yeah, it's basically the same map. We just added like again 2 times bigger.
And that's what I'm saying. Like
by the
if
roof. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. If they could have at least like I understand spoilers, but like why didn't they show us then us talking to one of the champions? Like, oh, we're talking to the Gerudo champion, and guess what? Like her, Gerudo, like that desert area, it looks different now because it got like destroyed or something. So at least that
Hmm.
gives us a hint of like what's happening. Or like I said, oh, it shows Link walking into what looks like it's a dungeon to at least kind of like go, ooh, snap, dungeons are back. Or I don't know, like they're being too mysterious with it to the point that it's kind of like, what if it just disappoints people where it's like the same thing as Breath of the Wild, like you said, except just like bigger? And like, yeah, it's the same thing where like there's no story really, there's no dungeons, Zelda's off dead again somewhere, and it's just like, do the Breath of the Wild thing again, but like this time it has like they added a few more tricks, but like people who are expecting like a lot of like lore and a lot of like, oh, we're gonna get to see some importance of like the war and the murals and the ancients and like all the stuff and how they hinted, oh, Skyward Sword's very important. We can't show you the title until we show you until you play Skyward Sword. Like, what if none of that matters?
It probably won't. That's the thing.
But then why hint at it?
I'm hoping that when the game does come out, it is bigger than what we expect. Like the
Yeah,
world,
like
I hope
I
that the
hope we're
plot
wrong.
ends up being good. I hope the plot ends up being really good, where it really does is they kind of do this whole thing where yeah, the point of why Zelda's saying like give him your power is maybe because she knows that is like a secret to ending like that reincarnation thing.
Maybe, yeah.
Kind of like how in Wind Waker it almost kind of happened where he stole their power. Link and Zelda end up being extremely weak, you can tell, and
Mhm.
stuff. Like maybe that's what it has to do. That maybe like Zelda kind of like feels that, hey, if we become weak and he becomes extremely strong, maybe like if he wishes for something, it'll backfire bad on him, and it just ends like, there it ends. So yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
hoping it goes really good, but it's just really weird. Like Nintendo, like I don't know,
Yeah, like
Nintendo's been
I'm hoping that they're being so secretive because they literally have to, because if not, they'll spoil something. Like I'm hoping it's
and like
that.
everything's just too spoilerish or something.
Yeah, like I'm
Yeah.
hoping that they're hiding stuff because they don't want to spoil it and not because there's nothing to show.
Hmm.
Because I don't know, the only thing I could think of that maybe they're trying to hide in the last one, they did hint that like Fi, where her name is, how she's in the sword, right?
Yeah.
And you know how Zelda seems like she did hear a voice in the sword, and you can hear like Fi's like little chime or whatever.
And you can hear the music. Yeah.
Okay, and the whole point is that they said for this one, oh, we can't really like tell you about like the title of this one or really show anything because Skyward Sword's too important, blah 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 blah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Fi, we know she's in the sword because of Skyward Sword.
And there's a
Who else
lot of
is in the
evidence here.
sword?
Um, what I forgot who. That's the thing. But
Demise.
Demise, yeah, he has some connection to the Master Sword, yeah.
Yes, and the Demise is what creates Ganondorf and all that, right?
Hmm.
We know that in the last game, Ganondorf, Ganon, whatever, they broke that reincarnation thing, suppose, right? They messed it up, right?
The body thing, yeah, they
Yes.
ruined it, yeah.
One of the things that we do see is there's a part where Link's holding the sword, and it looks like it's almost like melting in his hands, like it's getting destroyed. What if somehow that's because by destroying the Master Sword, we have to reforge it the way we did in Skyward Sword, like for the first time again, almost? What if
Hmm.
that brings in Fi and or like Demise or something?
Hmm. And then Ganon's kind of like, oh yeah, I'm back, baby, type of situation.
Maybe.
Hmm.
Or maybe what if like we think it's Ganon and what if like this whole time it's actually like Demise himself almost?
Yeah, he's controlling the dead corpse thing.
Yeah. And maybe
Hmm.
that's when she says lend him your power. Maybe it's Fi. Or maybe it has something to do with like the ancients or something. Like, yeah, maybe like what if there is gonna be like a really strong implication with like that Skyward Sword stuff? Maybe there is, and maybe that's why they haven't really been able to show us stuff. Maybe they weren't lying to us, but it's just so spoilerish that they can't show us because yeah, because I'm thinking of something about the Skyward Sword built basically melting in his hands. I feel like that is gonna be important. Like there's something
Hmm.
there.
Especially because someone even like showed supposedly quote unquote official art of what the Master Sword looks like. And it looks really disgusting where like the blade like fell apart completely. Like it's
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm
half,
saying. Yeah,
like
that's what I'm
it's like
saying.
half of it,
Yeah,
and so it's like this tiny little blade, and it
yeah,
was all
even
ugly.
if you look at the logo, the Skyward Sword, sorry. If you look at the logo, the Master Sword looks kind of like kind of funky, like in the middle, where it's like
Hmm.
with the like crossing the Z of Zelda, it looks like broken and like all messed up.
Yeah, and then from what I've seen, since you know how this Master Sword has kind of like completely broken or it's like melting away, it's obvious this is even the first time that Ganon or Ganondorf or even any other like thing that's connected to that reincarnated evil has done it, because Wind Waker implied that he purposely returned the Master Sword to the black one because he knew that someday a hero would rise, and he's like, oh yeah, you're super dumb where you pulled that and it was like a key. The moment you pulled that, you gave me all my power, and I purposely cursed it so that I can kill all the other sages or whatever, so that when you try to come attack me, it would be powerless, he said.
Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking that maybe in this game something's gonna happen with the Master Sword, like something's gonna like screw up big time. That
Hmm.
might involve, like I said, the Sword people like Fi or Ganon. I mean, Demise or something. And maybe that'll be the whole point. That in this one you need to like really like bring the Master Sword back to its glory, kind of like Skyward Sword, where they made it for like the first time, basically. It might be
Hmm.
something like that, where maybe we really have to like do something special because it's not just like, oh, power it up with magic. It might be like you need to really like
Get
almost
materials.
create it from like scratch all over again. You know what I mean? Like really,
Hmm.
really something's really wrong with it, you know?
Yeah. Especially because, yeah, in other games we see the whole reforging thing where we make the sword stronger. I'm telling you, yeah, if it's really not just magic, it really does have to do with like, oh yeah, you have to go look for the ores, or you have to go to this specific area and try to find Den's flare and
I mean, maybe that's why
stuff
it's
like that.
called.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's called Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe you have to collect like some tears or something from like
Or
the ancients or something. I
or
don't know.
the skies tear it apart, something like that, and you have to go
Yeah,
across. Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know. Like I said, it's just one of those things where you can speculate. Luckily, it doesn't come out too long from now, but I just hope the game's good. I hope it has a lot going on more than we think. Hopefully, like I
Hmm.
said, they're being so cautious because they don't want to spoil anything. Hopefully, it's not the latter where it's just like, oh, it's Breath of the Wild again, where it's really big, but there's not really any story or anything special to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's your standard, oh, Link and Zelda are underground. They come upon Ganondorf's corpse. It comes to life. It says, ha ha ha, I'm back. I'm going to do evil stuff. He traps Zelda. Link has to do the stuff of Breath of the Wild again to save her. And that's it. He defeats Ganondorf. Like, that would, like, it could still be fun, but it would just be like really disappointing that we're expecting something really big. We're expecting like a really big next step, and it's like, oh, that was it.
Yeah, and he doesn't even explain anything new. He's just kind of like, "Yeah, I'm back. That's it."
Like how? Who are you really? I don't know,
Oh,
but
I don't know. I'm
here,
just
defeat the
here.
guy. Defeat the guy. Oh,
Yeah,
you defeated him.
I can
You saved
understand.
Zelda again, who was off camera for like 100 hours. Yay.
Yeah, unlike and you're saying it can be fun, but like I can understand if it's like, oh yeah, it's because we purposely did that. But then he explains like lore stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, at least thank you for the lore stuff. But like if they
Yeah, like
don't, if they just kind of repeat the same thing of usual.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I would love for it to like surprise us, do something weird. Like people have been saying, like, playable Zelda would be cool, or like a Ganondorf that isn't necessarily he's like more self-aware. He's not just an enemy. Like maybe he explains what he's up to, whether he's possessed, he helps you out. Like even this one, it would be cool, like we said, if it's like actually Demise controlling the body, an actual Ganondorf is like, I've been under the guy's control. It's not really me, and I don't know, just something. But
Especially because people have made a speculation that it seems like Ganondorf, like especially at the beginning of his childhood, they kind of imply that he wasn't really evil or some weird thing. Like it felt like he kind of did come over a possession or something like that.
yeah, it's
So
like he fell to darkness, almost Kingdom Hearts style. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
he
And
wasn't
that's
always
why,
meant to like be like that. Yeah.
yeah, and that's why there was even people who said like it's kind of creepy how in Ocarina of Time they implicate that, and even links to the past because you know how it takes place after.
Hmm.
Basically, people were like, dude, that tells you that there really was like some weird encounter that like Ganondorf had as like a child or a teenager, and that kind of led to him being like the Ganondorf we meet in like Ocarina of Time and afterwards and stuff.
Yeah, like maybe it had to do with like jealousy or greed, kind of based on the Wind Waker one where he's like, oh, my kingdom was one of like harsh sand and it was inhospitable, and Hyrule was so beautiful, and it kind of made him want to like take that
Take
because he was
control.
jealous. You know what I mean?
It
Maybe
could have
it's
been
something
like
like
Demise
that.
trying to convince him of that.
Yeah, like he felt the darkness out of like greed and like jealousy or something. As I was saying,
Yeah.
it would be really cool for them to give us a Ganondorf that like at least just once, isn't that monster that it kind of like he goes, it's Demise who's behind everything. And especially because once again, that ties back to once again, this is the last time I bring it up, and we'll try to wrap this up soon. Back to those murals and stuff. The murals seem to show a person that looks kind of like Ganondorf as almost the hero in the murals based on where he's placed.
Because the
It's
hair
kind
and
of
everything, yeah.
yeah, it looks like he's almost like the hero of that mural. What it's focusing on, it doesn't look like he's the
hmm
enemy. So it'd be interesting for there to be like there was supposed to be a Ganondorf or some incarnation of him that was going to be the good guy, and maybe
And
it's still
then
possible
Demise
or
tried to
something.
ruin it, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. There's just like, so much, and we're gonna have to wait, which sucks. It's just so much
hmm
speculation. But once again, hopefully we are wrong about it being lacking. Hopefully it has more than we're expecting.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping that as well.
Yep. But yeah, the stuff that is out now, the Game Boy Advance and Game Boy stuff is some of them, that stuff is out now. The Octopath Traveler demo is out. The Kirby demo is out. Metroid Prime Remastered is out, the digital version. I think they added some of the DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles and Fire Emblem. I think they added some of them because I think there was like
Yeah,
some coming soon and some coming later in the year, I think. And then everything else, I think you have to wait for.
yeah.
But it's coming out within like this like first half of the year, so that's kind of cool.
hmm
But there you go, guys. That is us talking about the Nintendo World Direct. As you can see, we have a lot of thoughts about the games and stuff that Nintendo does, doesn't do, etc. We have a lot of high hopes for Zelda, and there's definitely stuff we want to see. Hopefully that goes well. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments below. What games are you excited about? What games do
Definitely,
you wish
guys.
that what games do you wish that, Nintendo would port that they refuse to like port or refuse to continue? What are your theories, or what would you like to see from like the new Zelda game, I guess, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. And like I
Um,
said, that is where we're gonna come to a close. Did
yeah.
you have any final thoughts before we close?
Guys, if you want to have an argument with me, I'm willing to do it in the comments.
Oh Lord. Oh, one last thing before we close, talking about comments. Man, anytime you open up a chat for a direct,
Dude, I got so pissed at the chat.
like oh my god, some of the stuff I saw, I'm just gonna go over a few of them. It had barely started. It was showing Pikmin 4. People have been
Exactly. That's what I was about to mention
they're like,
too.
where's Tears of the Kingdom? Where's
That's
Mario?
what I literally saw.
Resident Sleeper, ZZZZZ.
Yeah, I got
Who
pissed.
asked for this? Nobody likes this game.
And then when everyone was happy about how do you call it? I forgot what game it was. Oh, it was like Game Boy or something like that. I even put on like shut the fuck up, everyone. And I'm like, y'all can go suck a dick. And I even told them that.
Oh my
And
god,
there was people that got pissed. And
that's
I was like,
funny.
exactly, get pissed.
So many anime games, so many farming games. Oh, who cares?
Yeah.
PlayStation better. Oh,
Yeah, it
and then
was
I love how there's some games where they'll go PS2 graphics.
even though like they're like really good. It's so
Yeah,
dumb.
like I'm trying to think of which is the game where I said PS2 graphics. It was I think it was like the new Metroid actually, the remaster. I think someone dumb said PS2 graphics.
Oh yeah, now I just remembered. Yeah. It was Metroid, yeah.
And then someone saw the Katamari game and they said, oh, mobile game.
Oh, that's what I
It
remember.
has nothing to
That's
do with
what
mobile games. Like, what are you
that's the
talking
thing.
about?
I don't know. Everyone in those chats are so
Yeah,
stupid.
anytime you see a chat, it is so like cancerous and stupid. And the best thing is that people seem to not know how a thing is structured. Like Zelda is a big title. Either it's going to be at the beginning
Or it's
or
gonna
it's
be
going to
at
be
the
at the
end.
end. If it wasn't at the beginning, then
It's gonna
why
be at the
like
end. Like
But they're like, "Where's Zelda? Why hasn't Zelda been talked about yet? Where's Zelda?" It's like you really think they're just gonna like randomly talk about it in the middle of the direct. It's like they
I
don't
don't know.
know. They're the kind of people that they would put like the most exciting fight instead of it being the climax. They would put it like at the beginning of a movie.
Hmm.
Like, how do you guys not understand how things work? They're gonna show their big
Yeah,
hitters at the beginning and at the end. Like, they're not gonna show just in the. Oh my god. Anyway, I don't want
yeah.
to talk more about this, but the point is, and that sucks. It's not just Nintendo. Any direct that they have, whether it's Nintendo,
Sony.
Xbox, Sony, it's always like the dumbest thing. Like I'm telling you, the one for Xbox where they announced Hi-Fi Rush, which people have loved and had so much fun with. The people in the comments were like, "Oh, PS2 graphics, Wii ass graphics," just because it was Excel shaded, and then, "Oh, who's this for? It looks stupid. It's so like gay. It's so dumb." And people who like aren't idiots tried it and had total fun with it.
Yeah.
Oh my god. But anyway, that's enough, guys. I don't want to keep talking about these people and getting mad. So that's gonna be it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed
Yo,
this
stay mad, everyone.
uh, hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast that was a little bit different this episode. It was more just like all over the place. We'll try to do
Hmm.
that more often where we kind of just talk about something. It's not so organized. I think that'd be kind
Yeah.
of fun. But yeah, we'll be back next week if we can with episode 15. And until then, that's been it, guys. We hope you guys had fun, enjoyed it, and that's it. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.